yeah, like subtropical park. So they held this event there, and they even they made a lot of incredible photos with me because I was the only one foreigner there. They wanted to make to take an interview, and also local television took an interview from me, and I even was able to somehow produce a few phrases in Chinese. So that was somehow like all right. Somehow I managed, but as if that was not enough to me, I wanted more, of course. So I went on that day. I went, and that was already like something second half of the day. I went to a place, a very special place. This is something like 50, 60 kilometers away from Weifan, near the city of Tinzhou. I took bullet train. I went there. It is mountainous area actually. That is the place where Shandong Mountains start. The mountains look a little bit like Crimean mountains actually. They have nice waterfalls and little rivers. But I thought that the time is really not enough for me to go to this touristic regular routes and paths. So I wanted to be like adventurous, of course. Uh, and that is why I went to one of so-called wild mountains. No routes, no ways. Somehow I managed to crawl up, to climb up. Don't know how, don't ask me how. Somehow, by pure maybe enthusiasm. I went on top of that mountain and I discovered that it was not really a mountain, it was like a mountainous plateau extending for something like 2 kilometers. And I was walking here and there and I was really enjoying how nice it was there with all this um, um, kippery trees and bushes and almost like alpine mallow, very picturesque stones, all this thing. But then it was already a little bit getting, I realized that it was something like past 5, like closer to 6, and I really need somehow to get down. And that was precisely the problem, that I could not go down. I could simply not go down. I could not find a single place, a single route, because although it was like plateau, more or less atop, all the cliffs were very sharp, it was like precipice. And I started to get a little bit nervous, and I really even remembered at that moment about this superstition, this curse of the fifth day of the fifth month, the demon's curse. At that moment, I saw maybe like something 400 or 500 meters away. I saw a little Chinese house, and I thought, oh my God, finally I found some way, because if there's a little house, there must be some stairs down, off from the cliff. And I rushed to that house, somehow made my passage through all these bushes and herbs to that house, only to discover that it was like a swallow's nest, really sticking to the very sharp cliff, and there was no passage down. So I got all the way back, and I was at that moment I was really starting to panic a little bit, very nervous. I tried few unsuccessful attempts to go down. I hurt my legs, not really hurt, but it was bleeding a little bit because the bushes was really sharp, and the inclination, the slope was very, very sharp, so I could not make it. I realized I would never make it. And at that moment, I was almost like considering some issues like asking for help, calling somebody, or maybe at least making them know that I'm here. But then I strangely discovered that there was neither phone connection nor internet at top of this mountain. Which made my situation even more, let's say, well, yeah, not nice. At that moment, I already started praying because it was almost 7 o'clock, and really the sun was getting like sunset a little bit. And finally, yeah, thank God I found more or less all right passage, not by this covered by this obscured by these bushes and herbs, because at one moment I must tell you that I was even like sliding on my back, something like 5, 7 meters, and really clinging to some sharp bushes, and thus being able to slow down and then crawling back again. So I really no way I could come down. But finally, after 3 or 4 attempts, I found such passage back. Uh, Crawling down on the stones, It was not nice, but somehow I managed, like 30, 40 minutes. I was all covered in mud, all covered in this sharp seeds of these bushes and these leaves of these bushes, all sweating. And it was sheer delight, an incredible pleasure. I just jumped into the river, And I wanted to make little videos because the place was really nice, and I wanted to capture the place and maybe to share with you, with some of you who might be interested, maybe to put on Instagram or wherever. That little video, because the place was very, very like valley in the mountains, so I took camera with me. And that was another very risky decision of mine, because the entrance into the water was very nice, really very shallow, and then abruptly it went vertical down, because probably it was not a real natural lake, but rather it was a man-made water reserve. So it came from that to vertical immediately. So I made one more step, and I just tumbled under the water with my phone. Of course, I was, oh my God, as if all the rest was not enough. I just pushed my head with the phone up the water, and immediately somehow climbed down off the water. And then I was blowing all the water away from my phone, and thank God, probably it is not hurt too much. At least it still works. Yeah. I still was able to make a few photos into the water, and yeah, but then finally I went swimming, like something like 20-30 minutes. I was swimming because I realized that all the buses gone, all the trains gone, so there was nothing actually left to do but simply to enjoy. The next day I also had my day off, so no problem. I was simply swimming and trying to pull my thoughts together what to do next. Yeah. So yeah, I somehow dried myself up, went to a road, this mountainous road, hailed a car. Well, quite soon a car would stop, and there was one Chinese guy with his, it was actually like a minivan with his family, like several ladies were there and two kids. And they were chatting with me in Chinese, and all wanting to make photos with me, and all even asking for my phone number or my WeChat ID. And of course I was more than willing to give all that to them. And I asked them, please, train station, and said, okay, don't worry, okay. So he was taking me somewhere. Only something like for maybe 40-50 minutes, maybe less than 1 hour, so it was approximately something like after 9 already. He took me to some city or town, some place I could find it on the map, but it was a little bit strange because it was exactly the opposite direction, not the one that I really needed. And then suddenly he was saying something in Chinese, and he was hailing a cab, a regular normal Chinese cab, and he was passing me onto this cab driver. And then this cab driver would ask, so where do we go? And I said, I need train station. But he said, sorry, we do not have train station in this town. We have to go something like 20-25 kilometers to the nearest train station. Surprise, surprise. At that moment, I got really pissed off. I got really, really pissed off. So I just shut the door, and I angrily went away. And then I hailed another car, and this another car simply put me to, I thought to myself, well, this is China. This is not wasteland, this is not desert, no jungle. Actually, we are like civilized land, infrastructure is pretty nice. So I just asked him, take me to the nearest highway road. So he took me out of the city, I paid very little money. And there was actually, finally, God probably heard my prayers. This was a very busy highway from the capital, huge metropolis of Jinan to Qingdao, and we found was right in the middle of that highway. So like probably in like 1 or 2 minutes, a very nice car stopped, and a driver took me. He was coming heading to the city of Qingdao, so his route actually passed through Weifang. So he took me practically home, very close to my home, probably like 5 minutes away from my home, in the very center of Weifang city. We had a very nice conversation. He really saw that I was very much anxious, very much nervous, really hungry, really wanted to drink, to eat, because since the very morning I didn't have anything. So he got me snacks, he got me some cookies that he had, he got me like milk tea, he got me some juice, he shared all this with me. We had a very pleasant conversation. In 1 hour, precisely at midnight, I was already at home. So this is, and at that moment, so, and it all happened during just one day, you know, and the climbing up to this mountainous plateau, and walking in this and making incredible photos into this nice mountainous areas with incredible views down to this valley and river and the mountains surrounding the place, and the drowning of my phone, and the swimming in the very clean, very nice mountainous river, and this strange adventure with this strange Chinese guy who took me the opposite direction, and this another guy who more than made it up by feeding me, by getting me whatever I needed, and by taking me home. So the next day, I went to my Chinese friends and I asked them, please give me this, get me this. I will abide to all Chinese traditions. I will be wearing this. I swear I will not take it off until the next shower, until the next rain, because for one day. And that was just my regular day off. So you see, so this is the kind of lifestyle that I have here. But no, I must admit, of course, that for one day that was probably a little bit too much. It all started something like 8 o'clock, and all this dragon boat racing and the Chinese interviewing Chinese to the local television, and incredible photos, and a very nice breakfast, traditional breakfast with this zonzer. And then, as if it wasn't enough, I went to these mountainous areas to encounter all these incredible adventures, and that was all just in one day. Yeah, really great memories, and this little souvenir for this day to be remembered for many more days to come. All right, so that's basically it. I'll switch off the record for the moment, just to make a little pause, maybe go get some tea or something, and then I'll get back to our regular price stuff. So if you like my story, which is 100% real story, and I have all proof on file, all the photos with all the weird Chinese drivers, and all the mountainous views, and the photos of me swimming, and the videos of all the sceneries around me, and the dragon boat racing, of course, and all the ceremony of giving awards, and all the photos. I have all that incredible stuff on hand now, which will stay with me, and which, of course, more than compensate me for all this, maybe a few very unpleasant and sometimes even I can say tragic moments that I lived through these moments, especially when I was sliding on this sharp cliff. Oh yeah, it was one of the most unpleasant experiences in my life, and feelings that I had inside of me. So that's it. I'll be a few minutes. I'll be right back. Thank you.